In this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to make the pop-up pumpkin Halloween card. And this is what the card looks like. The first step is to print out the template from creativepopupcards.com. The first page is the pumpkin, the second page is the inside card, and the third page is the outside cover. So it has 3 pages to this template. Okay, so I've already cut out the parts. This is the inside, this is the pumpkin. Here's the inside of the card. Here's some of the clip art. This is the stem, and then here's the back of the card. Okay, so the first thing you want to do when after you cut out your part is to fold where it's creased. Now what I did was I've actually cut here where we want to score, because for this design it's really critical that all these folds are really soft. So what I've done is, for example, this location here is where you want to crease. Now I've actually cut from here to here. After I've scored it, I've kind of cut all the way through just to make it even easier to bend. Of course, there's a risk that you might cut all the way through and this piece may fall out, but that's okay. So if that happens, just take a little sheet of paper, something as thin as paper, and just glue it to the back side, and if you want to do that to fix. So again, all these regions where it's supposed to be scored, I've cut down the center here, leaving these ends together. This will make it fold much easier. I've done that through all of these areas. Now the only area where I didn't cut would be this area and this area, because that's going to have a lot of tension to open up this design. So definitely want to do it to the top folds, this area, and also here. You can see I've cut in the centers across these areas, and then also the sides, cut that. Okay, and then now you want to fold it. So let's fold these, fold it back and forth, and make sure it's very soft, very easy to open, because that will help with your card to fully open when you open the card. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Okay, now that you've folded your part, your pumpkin, it's going to be really fragile. Okay, so let's glue this together. So what you want to do first is align it like this, and you're going to glue the top stem part first, right here. Okay. Okay, after you've glued that, you want to fold it inside like this, like that. See? Okay, now glue the rest of the tabs like this. Okay, now your pumpkin will look like this after it's all glued. Okay, and you might want to exercise your pumpkin a little bit, make sure it's very soft and easy to open. You could test this out by pulling the bottom tabs. You could see how the top doesn't close all the way, these edges. So you want to make sure these creases are really soft. And of course this makes your card very fragile. Okay, so the next step is to mount it to your inside card. And I've already cut this out. And here, this is where the slots go in, and then you'll see 2 holes here. This is where I'm going to use a thread to pull the back down to help the pumpkin open up a little bit. Okay, so let's first And make sure you have those holes. I've already punched those holes out here. This is on the template. You'll see two little round circles. Just make sure there's a hole there. Use a needle if you need to. And then the back, these two holes are going to match up with these two holes. So it's going to be the back of the pumpkin. So let's go ahead and put this tab into the back of the card. Okay. Once you stick it in, then turn it around and pull the tab through and make sure that the tab is all the way in. This can be a little bit tricky. Don't pull too hard because you might rip the tab off. You don't want to do that. There. Okay, so now the tab is in there. Okay, and before putting the front tab in, I'm going to use a thread and put some thread through. So I'm going to go in from the back side. Make sure you go into the back of the card. Okay. Pull that through. I'm going to use my tweezers to grab my needle. Okay. And now I'm going to put it through the other hole that I made, the second hole, and put it back down. Be careful not to poke yourself. Okay. Okay, now you'll want to tape this to the back. Before you tape it to the back, actually, you want to, if you only want one single thread, then pull 1/2 back through. There. Okay, so now I have just one thread. Okay, now I'm going to temporarily tape this down, like so. Okay, and then let's fold this card, and then put this front tab through the slot. Again, barely put it through, and then pull from the back. And again, make sure you don't rip anything. So be very careful. Pulling one corner through at a time. There. Okay, so now the card is almost assembled. Okay, now to glue the strings down. Now the card is almost done. So you can see here, I taped the strings on the back. Now you want to adjust the tension so that these flaps come down. You can see like that. So you want it tight enough that these flaps come down, but not too tight. If it's too tight, then the card won't actually open up all the way. So you want to keep adjusting this tension. Pull these strings, and keep that tape down until you get just the right tension. So this is about right. And then glue these strings down. Okay, what I like to do is I take another piece of paper, this is an extra piece of cardstock, and then put some glue on the edges. And I make sure I cover those two holes there with this card. Okay, and then I'm going to remove this. You want to be really careful. I'll keep the card closed. That would actually help. Now you want to be careful that your strings do not move. So you actually might want to let that dry before attaching the second piece, but I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to pull these strings over to this side of the card and then glue another piece on that corner. Like so. And to make sure the strings are taut. Okay, and make sure you didn't accidentally pull too much string through. Okay, and then you can cut the string and let this dry. Okay, while your card dries, you could also glue some of your clip art on. So I'm going to glue these on. And the stems. So don't open the card all the way, so your strings, to prevent your strings from loosening up. Okay, and the last step is to assemble the backing. So this is what the backing looks like. I've already cut it out. And let's fold it in half. Okay, and go ahead and just slide this between the bat silhouette. There. One last thing to note is just make sure that when you attach the strings on the outside, that if you do cut out any templates, any clip art from your back of your card, that none of this shows behind. So just keep that in mind. And here's the final card. Thank you for watching CreativePopUpCards.com.